college situated in the Umar Khed. Friends, first of all, I welcome you all. Before starting this session and the program, I pay my humble tribute to Vairagya Murtishi Sant Gadge Baba. Friends, yesterday a couple of documents I have shared in our WhatsApp group, and I hope so you have gone through that. Why this program have been launched by the ministry. See, friends, we are in the we are in the phase towards the drastic changes in the shifting of education from one era to another era. And since last 2 years, we are implementing this national education policy. And number of questions and the difficulties in this implementation of national education policies are there within your with you as well as your colleagues and your mind also. But friends, uh, therefore, to sensitize and make aware towards the implementation of this national education policy, the ministry has targeted to sensitize overall 15 lakh faculty across the nation, and to provide this to sensitize the faculty member through through this Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, and around 136 centers have been working across the country to take this responsibility towards awareness and the sensitization of faculty members. Friends, this flagship program is the 8 day flagship program that has included the 8 different themes that has been designed by the policymaker towards the sensitization of our faculty members with the various vertical of this national education policy that includes the holistic and multidisciplinary education, Indian knowledge system, skill domain, research and development, technological integration, curricular development, higher education and society. These are the integral themes. Today we will cover all these themes with the help of some ground experts that has been called from the across. First of all, before starting this session, I much appreciate the management and the trustees of the GS Gavande College, because this college, your college or your institution has been geographically located in the focus district, and you are catering particularly the rural students. We are implementing this national education policy with some challenges. We are really appreciate your effort that have been taken your institution, teacher management, particularly principal and Dr. Board, coordinator of the RPS. So we appreciate your initial step towards the implementation of this national education policy and the sensitization of faculty members. So friends, we will first start with our
Ankit sir, your voice has gone. Ankit sir, probably you are muted. Hello, hello. Are the participants able to listen, Ankit? Probably he's muted. Yeah, yeah. Ankit, can you unmute yourself, please?
sorry friend, there will some technical glitch. So we will start with the help of Professor Anant Marathe sir. Sir, first of all, I extend my warm welcome to you to this flagship program, particular to this session. Friends, we will start with this program with the basic introduction of this national education policy, its various verticals, and what are the provisions where there where there are different credit frameworks like as the national credit framework, national higher education qualification work, NSQF, and the learning outcome framework is there, and it will be enlightened by Professor Marathe sir on these different aspects. So, first of all, I extend my warm welcome to you, Professor Marathe sir, to this session and particular to this flagship program. Marathe sir is very well, but it's my duty to introduce sir in a very brief manner. Sir is former professor Sir is the former principal at HVPM College of Engineering and Technology, which is affiliated to the Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University. Sir has more than 4 and 5 decades of experience in this field of higher education, and under his able guidance, uh, most of the institutions have been adopted with the drastic changes that towards the implementation of this national education policy. Except Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University having a privilege with Marathe sir when the university has started the implementation of this education policy, the man who having Jesus has guided, drafted, and crafted the very provision of this policy. And today, whatever may be the curriculum we are teaching to the students, their primary draft was prepared by Professor under the guidance of Professor Marathe sir. So we are luckily fortunate friends to get such kind of distinguished and scholarly personality today to enlighten us. Professor Marathe sir have more than 50 articles on his credit that have been published in the national as well as the international journal. He has also 5 patents on his credit. Out of two have been commercialized transfer for the to the companies for the under the technology transfer. Sir has received some of the couple of award that includes the best paper presentation award, best principal award, and Kirloskar Vasun Mitra Kirloskar Award. One of renowned and prestigious thing that sir is the advisory council member of the Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, nominated by the Honorable His Excellency in the Honorable Governor and the Chancellor of the Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University. So, friends, I will not take much time. It's and request you to please take your questions, whatever the questions in your mind that should be resolved here. And we are not here to provide such kind of documents because documents are n number of documents with regards to this national education policy are available in the public domain. We are here to sort your queries, sort your questions, providing you the deeper understanding to this national education implementation of this NEP and which where it's vertical. So I will not take much more time, sir. I once again extend my warm welcome to you. Now I
Thank you, Ankit. Thank you very much. As usual, you have really encouraged me with your kind words. So, at the outset, let me let me first pay my rich tribute to Santa Gadgeba Maharaj, under whose name our university is there. I also express my thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Registrar, Director of erstwhile UGC HRDC, or now Madan Mohan Malviya Teachers Training Center of UGC, Dr. Atik sir, my friend Ankit, who really helps us for all technical difficulties, principal of this Gavandi College from Umarket. Really, I appreciate the effort taken by college located in relatively remote place, and I welcome all distinguished learned faculty members with whom I will be interacting. So I feel proud and privileged to have interaction with such a learned audience. So friends, let us first have a let us sort of course of our discussion. Let us schedule our session. Let us make it more interactive because you people are also equally knowledgeable, working in the same field. So at times you may be knowing much better than what I am trying to explain. So please intervene and add your knowledge component. And at times there may be some area where you may like me to say that, okay, sir, this is already known to us. Please skip it and go ahead. So I give full freedom to audience to intervene and tell that time. Or at times you may need certain explanation then and there itself. So intervening during you can say our interactive session is most welcome. Do not wait till end of the session if there are certain queries which you feel that they should be sorted out there itself. Second thing, we have got a long session of 3 hours, and that we will divide it in two parts. First part we will have of about 90 minutes or say 80 minutes to 90 minutes. Then there itself we will wait for few interactive questions if any. We will break for 10 minutes and again we will join for our second part which will also be of remaining say 90 minutes or 70 to 80 minutes plus question answer. This is how we will divide our session of 180 minutes into two parts. And to begin with, so what I will like to do, we will divide our all interactive session into four, you can say parts again, something like on fundamental or philosophy or what we call it as concept of national education policy. In my opinion, those philosophical part is necessary so that we can interpret and implement it properly. So then second, we will have all those frameworks under which all of us will be working. We are definitely autonomous. We have autonomy as a university or sometimes as a college or even individual we as a teacher. But every of us will have to operate under certain common framework. This is the beauty of this National Education Policy 2020. So we will try to understand those frameworks under which each of us will be operating. So this is how we will be having our coming session. Any session, the fundamental concept of national education policy is attainment of the outcomes. We are completely moving towards outcome-based education. And to begin with any program, any training, any our syllabi or course, the first and foremost thing is to express what are the expected learning outcomes of that training or for that course or curriculum. So here also, let us decide what do we have after end of this interactive session. I propose that after this session, the participants will be able to understand the pillars of national education policy, its concepts, aims and domains of education. What is domain? What is the, you can say, definition of basically education in this policy? What for education? What should be achieved and what are different domains? When we say that we are educator, means what exactly in which domains we are expected to operate as per this policy. So at the end of this session, probably all of us will be in a better position to understand this thing. Second learning outcome I am expecting is after the session, all learned participants will be not only able to understand but able to implement also. Credit structure for any undergraduate and postgraduate program. Third, my expected learning outcome is at the end of this session, learned participants will again not only be able to appreciate, understand, but will be able to implement competency-based, level-based structure in our higher education. Fourth, our expected outcome is the participants will be able to appreciate, understand, and frame qualification descriptors for whatever curriculum we are, either as a BOS member or as a teacher or as a assessor. For every level, for every qualification, certain descriptors are given as per this policy, and we will be able to understand and frame those descriptors for each level, each competency, and each qualification. And last, our expected outcome is all learned participants after this session will be able to appreciate, understand, as well as design and implement learning outcome-based curriculum. So these are the expected learning outcomes. And let us see at the end of the session, really we are able to attend those or not. So to begin with, let us understand the journey of this national education policy frame. Friends, one thing let us be clear that this policy Is it the first policy? No. Earlier also, right from before independence till date, we had various education policies at national level. Radhakrishnan Commission was there, Yashpal Commission was there, Kothari Commission was there. In 85 and again, which was modified in 92, we had our last education policy also. So what is the basic difference in formulation of those policies and this policy is that this policy, in my opinion, is a evolved document. When our last policy was implemented somewhere in 1985-86, the first thing which internationally happened and India accepted was Washington Accord. So it really gave benchmarking of parameters for higher education qualification and giving some equivalency with international qualification. So that sort of a quality benchmark, its measurement, and it's, you can say, making equivalency with expectations of those Washington Accord. That came immediately after our last policy. And as a result, we know National Board of Accreditation came, NAC came. So those were the offshoot of Washington Accord. So quality benchmarking with international standard were the first milestone after last policy and the journey of this policy. So at number of places we will find the word accreditation, benchmarking, even for school education, standardization, those terminologies and those concepts are there in this policy. Then somewhere in 1992, India accepted globalization as its national policy. So that time we thought it is something for trade and commerce, but no, education also was the part of one of the service sectors. And in this policy also, you will find the globalization of higher education, making it standardized with global norms, aligning it with global standard, we will find as a part of this policy also. Then somewhere in 96 or 97, UNO has accepted the concept, the report, which is known as Brundtland Report. And that was something known as our common future. And whole world, all countries unanimously accepted that document. And the concept of sustainability and sustainable development or development came into picture. In this policy, at number of places, you will find the mention of sustainability and sustainable attainment of sustainable development goals. India has committed itself to achieve. There are 17 sustainable development goals, and India has committed itself to achieve many of them by 2035. And SDG 4, Sustainable Development 4, talks about education. So the concept of sustainability development goals, those also you will find in this policy. Somewhere 2004, Johannesburg Declaration came into existence, Bones Declaration came, which insisted that sustainability and sustainability development, this concept, the onus of implementing SDGs will be on the education sector in general and higher education in particular. So Bones Declaration, Johannesburg Declaration, and India's commitment to those declarations, we will find in this policy. Somewhere in 2006-7, the information technology revolution really took place. Financial sector, share market, all sensitive sectors, they were touched by IT revolution. Probably education was a bit kept itself away from IT. We thought that no, we don't have to do anything with IT. Our chalk and duster and blackboard is perfect for us. But COVID taught us that it's not there. Now, to really expand the base of education, everybody has accepted that IT is one of the important tools of taking education to everybody. So all these milestones we will find are reflected in this policy. So what is the takeaway from our this few minutes discussion? Takeaway is this policy is a evolved document. It is not that within few years some committee was formed, they submitted some their finding and that was accepted. No, it was a almost 2 decades journey which has ultimately culminated into this policy document. Yes, Savita ma'am, any questions? Savita ma'am, any doubt? Can you please? Yeah. Then we will find one thing, that this policy is a journey from local to global through national standardization. So this is the takeaway from this. The one thing we have understood, that sustainability, Washington Accord, that is quality, then you can say affordability, those were important parameters of concept of sustainability and Washington Accord. Accordingly, this policy is based on 5 pillars. So let us understand those pillars. First is access, second is equity, third is quality, fourth is affordability, and finally, most important is accountability, which is something new to us with the education field. This access, it is found when this policy was formulated, that the number of students who pass their 10 plus 2 or 12 standard or its equivalent examination, and number of students who enroll for university education, that ratio is broadly called as gross enrollment ratio. And this ratio was too low. It was around 25% even in the modern state like developed state, progressive state of Maharashtra also. So target was decided that this gross enrollment ratio must go up to minimum 50% within say 10 years or so. So that is the first, you can say, pillar. Increase the access to the higher education or education in general. So you will find number of provisions are made so that students or those who are left over, they also can join. So multi-entry, multi-exit, then various frameworks are there. Those who have, you can say, no airtight compartment. Student who has done even 8th can even come to university education system. Those who do 10th, they can come to university education system. Those who are in vocation, they can come to education system. Those who are in vocational education, they can come also in academic education or university system. So there are many access points provided, entry points provided, and we have to, when we implement it, those points we have to keep in mind. And major part of this policy talks about access. Second is pillar is equity. Whether a student is in rural area or urban area or metro area, the place of learning should not hamper the quality of learning. So everybody, anytime, anywhere, the student should have access to the same quality, same type of material, same type of content. That part, as mobile has done, whether mobile is in with hands of X person or Y person, availability of the data, information, access is same to every mobile holder. Similarly, access to the quality education should be made available to every stakeholder, every student. That is the second pillar. So you will find use of, you can say, multimedia, use of IT tools, then through Swayam or through online education or open distance education, whatever may be the mode of education, it is made applicable and acceptable to every stakeholder in this policy. So equity is second important pillar. And when we implement, we have to keep that also pillar in mind. Third is, of course, quality, Washington Accord. So benchmarking, it has to be, all outcomes need to be smart. That is, they should be specific, they should be measurable. So all affordable. So these are, you can say, smart learning outcomes, smart benchmarks, measurable benchmarks, and quality and standard, predetermined, some standards have to be given. So that is why this you can say qualification benchmark, quality benchmark, those aspects you will find are to be implemented when we say NEP is implemented. Again, affordability in a country like India, this is important part. So lot of scholarships, friendships, and through government or those who can afford, they should provide the, you can say, support to the those who have, they should provide support to those have nots. So that those type of concepts have to be kept in mind. That is also the part of sustainability. And last pillar, which is something new to us, that is accountability. So whose accountability? What for accountability? We the educator, what will be the accountability? So we have to keep one eye on this fifth pillar of accountability, because may not be today, but after few years, there may be some audit system, and whatever is expected, if we are not able to provide, the educators may be held accountable for not giving what is expected. So these are the five pillars. So obviously, first and foremost thing our will be what is expected, what is that is expected in this policy. So let us understand. In this policy, very clearly the concept of or definition of the term education is very clearly given. So let us understand what does this policy mean by the term education. This policy has stated that education is manifestation of something which is perfect, already existing in an individual. So accepting this definition, three are important keywords we should understand. Number one, perfection is already existing in individual and education manifests it. What does it mean? The concept that because we teach, somebody learns, that has gone. It is expected that already some attributes, some specialities, some perfections are already there in every individual. So by divine design, some perfections are already there in every individual, and we as an educator, we have to help that individual to take out those perfections, to manifest those perfections. So we have to help that individual to identify उसके अंदर क्या खूबी है, what are the specialities in every individual. We have to help that individual to find out inner attributes, inner divine perfection. And we as an educator have to help that individual to take out those attributes, sharpen those attitudes. That is the meaning of now education. So what is the takeaway? Takeaway is now education will go to personalized, individualized. Earlier, we used to talk about class of 60, batch of 20, batch of 5. Now, henceforth, it will be what individual has, what are the interests of individual, how best personalized learning can be done. And second concept is teaching is not so important, but more important is learning. So what I teach, how much classes I take, what type of education I try to give is slightly secondary. What student has learned, what manifestation the student is able to show, what were the learning outcomes and how much they have attained, and whether student is able to demonstrate those attributes. Those are the more important parameter when we say that we implement NEP. So this is the definition of, you can say, education. Second question is, what for education? क्यों लेना चाहिए education? The aim of education is not only cognitive development, but building character, creating holistic, well-rounded individuals equipped with 21st century skills. So three terms are important in the aim of education. Number one, knowledge, cognitive domain, information, knowledge that has to be given. We are already doing it for years together, but that is not now sufficient. Along with knowledge and information, we have to equip the student with 21st century skills. So skilling, training, doing the things individually are equal part of now education. And third is building of character and individuals, you can say value system, ethical system, dispositions, behavior. So education aim will be to provide knowledge, to provide, equipped with skill and develop the character in the person. So henceforth, when we say that we impart education, we are educator, we have to develop these three wings of individual. Then only we will say that we are giving the education. And as I told you, we will be accountable. So mandate is given to we the educators. What does NEP gives the mandate to us? It states that education must prepare students for number one, their meaningful and satisfying life. So we will be accountable for a student leading अर्थपूर्ण जीवन, समाधानकारक सुखी जीवन. So we say that when we are giving education, so it is assumed that through us, student will be able to lead meaningful and satisfying life. That is first mandate. Second is we have to prepare students for their future job role. Student take admission in my college in first year, but as soon as he or she takes admission, I have to think after 4-5 years in which job role the student will be going. In when he or she enters the economic field, what type of job roles for this qualification the student will be having, and for that job role I have to prepare. So I have to think minimum 7 to 8 years ahead every year, so that what forecast what will be the economic situation, economic condition, job roles for a arts graduate, for a commerce graduate, for a science graduate, for a engineering graduate. And we have to prepare the student for future after 7-8 years, whatever job role the student will be having, we have to prepare. So we will be accountable for preparing the student for future job role. And third mandate is we have to prepare to enable their economic independence. So friends, this is the mandate given to we the educators, maybe university, maybe college, maybe we the individual teachers, that we have to prepare for these three things: meaningful, satisfying life, their future job roles, work roles, and enabling them for economic independence. So anything and everything, when we say we plan and execute, it should be directed towards these three mandates given to us. So NEP also talks about, when they have very clearly defined what is education, what are aims of education, and what is the mandate for educators, what we are expected to achieve. They also have given guidelines to go ahead. What does the policy say? Education must move towards less content and more towards learning. So all our BOS members, etc., we have to keep in mind, don't stuff many things into the curriculum or syllabi. NEP mandates whatever is required as per level base. So they have very clearly mentioned what is expected out of each level, what is how the curriculum should be developed. So according to that, understand the interest of the student, give more into the in that course in which student is interested, he has got passion. Otherwise, unnecessarily we do not have to stop many things in the syllabus, but it should move towards more learning, and the content should enable critical thinking and problem solving abilities. This content, our syllabi, our teaching, our assessment should lead to creative thinking. Education should be multidisciplinary. It should not be limited to airtight compartmentalization should not be there. And at the end, students should be taught how to innovate, how to adapt and absorb new material in novel and changing field. So this is the guideline direction given to us when we move ahead. So remember, the way ahead is education should not develop only cognitive capacities, both foundational or higher order, but critical thinking, problem solving, social, ethical, emotional capacities, capabilities, and dispositions. So very clear, we have to give in three areas, and that goes cognitive areas, skill areas, character building area, in those areas also of higher order. So cognitive capacities should be of very high order, not memorizing and reproducing data, but critical thinking and problem solving. And values, ethics, and disposition should lead to a well-behaved, constitutional, aware, you can say, graduate. So this is what is expect. So what is the plan given to us through this policy? The plan says education should enable individual, as I was saying, education will go towards more of personalized learning, individualized learning, attributes of individual rather than a group, and it should enable the individual to study one or more specialized area of interest at deep level. So everything and anything need not go to deep level. Whatever individual is interested in, those one or two areas should be gone into deep level. Second is develop character, ethical values. And third, 21st century capability across various disciplines, so multidisciplinary, science, social science, art, humanities, language, professional, technical, vocational subject. So it is the integration of vocational, you can say, education with academic education. It is the integration of value education with academic education. It is the integration of skill education into academic education. So this type of education is to be given to the student to facilitate them to unleash their potential, to manifest their already existing perfection. So we will be operating in three domains of education. That is, let us understand very clearly, when we say we will impart education, means we have to devote ourselves in three domains. First domain is knowledge domain or information domain, known as cognitive domain. We are already doing, our academic education was more focused on knowledge based only, but NEP says even knowledge has got two components. One is descriptive knowledge, that is something knowing that earth revolves around the sun. Okay, there are rules, there are principles, there are laws. So knowing that principles, laws, you can say theories, philosophies, that is okay. But in NEP, even descriptive knowledge should be given rather than remembering and understanding. It should lead to ability of reason why these facts are true. So critical thinking, analytical thinking, even for theoretical subject, philosophical subject, more orientation should be towards critical thinking rather than memorizing and understanding of that laws and principles. Along with descriptive knowledge, what we have to provide now is the procedural knowledge, that is knowing how. So even though we were already giving cognitive domain, academic stream knowledge, but in that domain, the change will be, we will be giving more on criticality, analytical abilities for laws, philosophies, and second component, that is procedural knowledge, should also be there along with descriptive knowledge in case of knowledge component. Remember, there are 6 stages of this cognitive domain also, known as Bloom's taxonomy. Lowest is remembering, then understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. NEP says that recalling certain information, memorizing and reproducing, that should be minimum, at least in higher education domain. So the questions like define, state, state the law, such type of questions should be minimum, unless and until it is very new type of knowledge which is first time introduced. Do not give more emphasis on remembering or memorizing and recalling certain information. Understanding is the next level. In our class also regularly we ask students, have you understood? Have you understood? Which talks about explaining ideas and concepts. To some extent, at lower level, lower competency level, understanding is necessary, but it should not limited to understanding. What to do with only understanding? समजलं, नुसतं समजून करायचं काय? So we have to go into higher level, that is applying. So whatever information we have recalled, we have memorized, or we have understood, that information, that knowledge, we should be able to, students should be able to apply in another familiar situation. So our level will be understanding, applying, and for higher classes, say, it will should lead to analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So when we will write or design our curriculum, even for cognitive domain, laws, philosophies, whether it is descriptive knowledge or whether it is procedural knowledge, emphasis should be on higher Bloom stages. Remembering, understanding are basic, but applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating are more. So our way of designing syllabus, way of imparting syllabus, and way of assessment, examination, and evaluation, that should reflect that we are operating in higher stages of even knowledge domain, cognitive domain. So this is very clearly is to be implemented when we say that we are implementing NEP. Now this is one domain, that is our cognitive domain. But NEP says that is not sufficient. We have to, you can say, impart student 21st century skills. So knowing one thing but able to do is equally important. As important is knowledge, having knowledge. So second domain is psychomotor domain. Here, 3 terms we should be very clear. One is capacity or skill, that is ability to be consistent and repeatable. So it should be adaptable to different situations. That is one part. So that has to be there. We have to impart skills into the student so that they can apply. They should be able to do with their own hands consistently and repeatedly with, you can say, very high proficiency in various different situations also. So we have to prepare student up to that, but we have to make them competent also. And their competencies are achievements which are observable and can be assessed systematically. And curriculum framework will based on those competencies, that at the end of this course, student will be able to demonstrate. So whatever we say that student will be able to demonstrate, those are the competencies and those have to be very clearly specified. And along with that, learning outcomes should be very clear, because competencies are attained over a period of time. But some interim markers of that learning achievements are needed, and those are known as learning outcomes. Then as per Bloom's taxonomy, this second domain, doing domain, skilling domain, is also having 7 stages. Say get, set, go. Those are for school level, where we prepare the student, we ask student to do what the teacher, or you can say the demonstrator, tell student to do, student masters it and repeat as per the guided. It is a sort of a guided response. So whatever the guide says, whatever supervisor says, whatever demonstrator says, the student repeat as is told by him, and that they do in proficiently. But those get set go up to guided response again are considered to be lower levels of, you can say, skill. Truly speaking, in higher education, it will begin from guided response to mechanism, complete overt response, adaptation to organization. The student should be able to create new patterns with the skills imbibed in the student. So this is what is expected. So in competency based, what is expected in terms of skill from first year or lower level is something the student is able to repeat confidently with given set of tools, instructions. So that type of practice or practical should be there in first year. But when the student enters final year or higher level, so higher level of competency will be expected. Their student will be thrown with problem, and student will be expected to arrange for proper tools, select the method, and come out with the solution. So that type of competency will be expected in doing or skilling or what is commonly known as psychomotor domain. So two domains we have seen. One was cognitive domain and its level. Second is doing or skilling and 7 stages. And we know that in higher education, we have to ensure that we operate in higher stages of both this domain. And third important domain is affective domain, that is values, ethics, dispositions. So this is considered to be very important wing of education. So as we were saying, education means in 3 domains. One is knowledge domain, second is skilling domain, and third is behavior domain. The policy states that effective action needs strong motivation in addition to knowledge and capacities. And values and dispositions are sources of that motivation. Values are beliefs, what is right and wrong, while dispositions are attitudes and perceptions that form the basis for behavior. It is expected that in 21st century, when knowledge-driven society is there, the individual must have a very solid, strong value and ethical system. And it is to be ensured that those values and ethics are imbibed in the student right from initial stages so that their behavior, their motivation is based on strong value system. So here also, this values dispositions is also having 5 stages. Right from receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and internalizing, we have to ensure that feelings at the development of our attitudes or behavior should from best from receiving to internalizing. Say for example, in first year or lower level of education, higher education, the first year you can say value system may be whatever is the value system of the institution. Student is made aware of it and it is ensured that student adopts and adapts to the value system, and those value system is inculcated. Say for example, you can say copying. It will not be only relevant in case of PhD anymore. Even in first year when we give assignment or when students perform practicals, we will have to observe and note whether student is copying simply assignment, whether he is copying readings from others' book, or whether the student is doing. So plagiarism is not only in the domain of research anymore, it is throughout in the education system. So we as a teacher will have to keep record of behavior, whether it is in cultural program, whether it is during participation in sports, NSS or Unnat Bharat Abhiyan or assignment or practical or exams. So value system we have to monitor, we have to inculcate, and we have to ensure that the proper attitude is developed and behavior is shaped in the student, and at the every stage the student should get opportunity to demonstrate the attributes inculcated or demonstrate the attainment of expected outcome in all these three domains. So this is the first part I wanted to discuss with you. So let us have a fast, you can say, uh, let us go back for whatever we have discussed, fast forward like a thing. We have understood what are the pillars of national education policy, how this national education policy is a evolved document rather than a short-term document. We have understood each pillar is represents certain milestones which are international commitments such as sustainability development, concept of sustainability. It has something to do with Washington Accord. It has to do with economics, social, that is affordability. So all five pillars we have understood. And fifth one, which is not fully implemented, but in due course of time, we will be exposed to that fifth pillar is accountability. So we have to prepare for that. Then we have understood what does education mean in this policy, what are aims of education, and what are mandates of education as a given to us as an educator. So we have to prepare students particularly in three for their happy life, content life, meaningful life, economic independence, and preparing them for their future job roles. So these pillars and mandate has to be kept in mind. Then we have understood the concept of education as per NEP means development is three domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affinitive domain. Then we have understood that each domain is also having number of stages. Say there are 5, 6 stages in cognitive, from memorizing to creating new. There are 7 stages in skilling. Simply get set go to internalizing. There are various stages and we have to prepare so that student can prepare new patterns with the skills imbibed in it. And third is behavior disposition, which is based on value and ethics. Again, it has got 5 stages, and we have to ensure that student as per the level, as per the year, the student gets developed and imbibes the values, ethics, and clear-cut expected behavior is demonstrated. This is what is the basic, you can say, concept on which complete NEP implementation is based. So let us have 2 minutes. If anybody wants to add anything, if the student or the learned participant wants to say something on this or wants to know something from me on these fundamentals, because once fundamentals are clear, then we will go to the framework under which we will be working. So let us have only 2 minutes break. Jogdande madam or Ankit sir, if anybody wants to, Shinde sir, if anybody wants to add, ask, interact, or else we will go ahead. Are you online, friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are there. Kalendkar sir, anything you want to add or you want me to explain on this first part, or should I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, should I go ahead? Okay, so thank you. So once we have understood the concept, aims, and you can say objectives and vision of policy, now let us come to implementation. So what is the takeaway from our first discussion? That it is from local to global. And equity talks whatever is taught or learned by a student at one place, anywhere, anytime. Same type of things one the student should get from any other place also. So portability, flexibility, movement from one place to another place, movement from one type of education, say vocational education, to academic education, or for that matter, movement from vocation. Somebody is doing vocation, but he wants to enter into vocational education. Somebody is there who has done 8th standard, then had gone to ITI, then had done some 2-3 years after ITI, some experience. And then that person feels, no, I should go for some education. So from vocation to he wants to come to vocational education. Or from vocational education, like polytechnic or BVOC, or from 12th vocational standard, the student wants to come for higher education, academic education. So there will be access. For that type of system, it will be operated under certain frameworks. So even though a student will deposit its credit to academic bank and he can move from one place to another place, there will be a lot of flexibility. To implement that flexibility, there has to be certain structure. So that structure is called here as framework. And one thing, let us be very clear. Everybody of us, whether we are teacher, whether we the institute, whether we are autonomous college or affiliated college, or we are deemed university or university, state university or central university, whether it is at Umarkhed or it is at New Delhi, everybody will have to work under so common framework. So let us understand what are those framework. In our today's discussion, we will be talking about 3 important framework. We are autonomous, university is autonomous college is autonomous, but subject to work under this framework. So nobody can break this framework. So let us understand what are those framework under which all of us will be working. First is credit framework. So this document, National Credit Framework, you will find all regularity and statutory bodies like Ministry of Education, University Grants Commission, All India Council for Technical Education, NCERT, everybody is on the same page, and a common document after lot of deliberation is published on April 2023, which is to be used by everybody, and it is for all. Now, this document is called as National Credit Framework. It is in the public domain. Anybody and everybody can go and have, you can say, contents of this document. Now, what is the fundamental premise of this? The credit framework is based on the principle that credit is the function of, number one, achieving the desired learning outcomes for a program, course, or training. So what is important? For any program, any course, any training, whether it is subject, whether it is course, whether it is complete degree, or it is program like what we are undergoing, there has to be a very clearly well-defined expected learning outcomes known to the learner, participant, before the program starts. So before you start your course, before you start your BA program or your individual subject, what is expected that very well defined outcomes are stated, statements are made, and those are known to the stakeholder, those are known to the learner. And at the end of the program, those expected learning outcome must have been attained or achieved by the learner. The learner must demonstrate that he or she has attained those outcomes. And how it will be determined? It has to be determined only after successful assessment by competent authority. So when this thing is happening, then only credits will be given. Now friends, remember, we have to give credit for participation in sports. We have to give credits for participation in NSS. We have to give credit for participation in Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. We have to give credits for participation in cultural program, for some quiz competition, for some paper presentation, for some seminar, for wall magazine. For everything we have to give credit. Now those credit will be given by teacher through college and it will go to academic bank of credit. When the word accountability will come, we will be accountable for awarding the credits and student will be accountable for claiming that the student has earned the credit. And that will be tested on whether learning outcomes were defined, whether assessment was there, whether assessment was done by competent authority, and whether that assessment shows, demonstrate the attainment of learning outcome, then only a student becomes eligible to gain the credit and then only we are allowed to award the credit. So this is the fundamental principle. So presently we have accepted choice-based credit system, we have accepted NEP, we have accepted various verticals, but presently I do not know whether we are going through this test of 3 before awarding credit. If not, after this our session, every participant should ensure adherence of this test of 3 before awarding credit. Otherwise, at later stage, when some audit may take place, we may be held accountable for awarding credit without considering these 3 things. So this is the first and foremost fundamental part of the term credit framework. Now, what are the dimensions of this national? It is a national credit framework. It is applicable from local to national, everybody. Credit is unit of measure of coursework. Each course may be allotted credit in proportional to time expected to be devoted by the student for that course. So duration is important, attainment is important, assessment is important. These things are there, then only some units, that is some credits can be given to the student as award for completing that course. Now credits, from where credits can be earned? It takes everything in account. Credits can be earned by virtue of academic education, by virtue of vocational education, by virtue of training, any skilling program, any experiential learning, relevant experience, proficiency, professional level acquired, anything and everywhere. You can say credit can be earned. So let us take 1 minute recap of concept of credit. So credit is something, some unit of measurement of the work done. Maybe course work done, practical work done, experiential learning done. But when credit can be, you can say, earned by the student or can be awarded by the educator, number one, it should have certain duration of that program. Second thing, it must have certain expected learning outcome very clearly stated. The student must have demonstrated the attainment of those expected learning outcome, and that assessment has to be done by some competent authority. So anywhere student goes, bring certain certificate that I have done internship in one shop and this is my certificate. We are not expected. Is that shop a competent authority, or else you test that student for whatever was expected in internship, and then when the student demonstrate attainment of those outcomes, then only you consider that certificate as valid and award the credit. So that is what is important part of the credit awarding and credit earning. Now second part of credit is relation of credit with notional hour. Now friends, I request everybody to give attention to these two slides because these are very important for us in implementing it. See, earlier we used to call one academic year from say 1st June to 30th April, we used to call it as a one academic year. NEP says okay, agreed. Then we used to call one academic year as 2 semester, odd semester and even semester, 1 plus 2, 3 plus 4, 5 plus 6. So these 2 semester together we used to call as one academic year. NEP says, okay, go ahead. Then we used to say that 180 teaching days, 90 teaching days in odd semester, 90 teaching days in even semester. We call it as academic year. NEP says, okay. Then we used to say that 15 to 18 weeks per semester. In first 90 days, 15 to 18 weeks. In second 90 days, 15 to 18 weeks teaching weeks. NEP says, okay. Now along with that, NEP says one more thing. It's you were talking about all teaching. NEP talks about learning. So one academic year means 1200 learning hours. So this is how one academic year is related with learning hours. What does it mean? When we say we have got 2 semesters, it means each semester will be of 600 learning hours. So we have our academic calendar, our document must show that student has learned 600 learning notional hours. Then only it will be considered that the student has completed a semester. And for every 600 completion of 600 learning hours, credits are 20. So every semester will comprise of minimum 20 credits for minimum 600 hours of notional learning. So this is what is the national credit framework. So please keep eye on this slide. So each semester, minimum learning hours per semester should be 600. Minimum teaching days per semester should be 90. Minimum learning weeks, not teaching weeks, should be 15 to 18 and NCRF considered 15. So minimum learning hours per week are 40. So if our teaching learning scheme given by university prepared by BOS, it does not show learning hours per week of 40. If our timetable which we prepare at college level does not indicate learning hours of 40 per week, then our tomorrow credits may become questionable. So nationally, when we deposit our credits, it is expected that students have learned for 40 hours minimum per week. That is why we are giving 20 credits per semester or 40 credits per year. So this is the framework. Nobody nationally or it is aligned with internationally can float, say that I don't follow this. So this is the framework which everybody has to follow. And for theory or tutorial, it is 1 hour per, you can say semester is, you can say 1 credit. And for practical, sorry, per week. And for practicals, it is 2 hours per credit. So if semester my subject shows 45 hours syllabi is there. So 45 hours student is expected to learn in 15 weeks. So 45 divided by 15, so 3. So 3 hours per week means it is a 3 credit course, and double is for practical. To make it more specific, our teaching learning scheme or our timetable will be considered to be compliant with National Credit Framework if our minimum learning weeks per semester are 15, minimum learning hours per semester are 600, then minimum learning hours per week will be 40, then that student will be able to earn 20 credits and we will be able to give 20 credits per semester minimum. What constitute learning hours? You will find classroom teaching, learning, tutorial, lab work, practical, innovation lab, project, incubation, yearly, half-yearly examination, class test, quiz, other assessment, formative assessment, activities such as you can say which leads to experiential learning, performing arts, fine art, music, handicraft, traditional, heritage work, essay writing, debate, recitation, story writing, celebration of festival, self-defense classes, value education classes, career counseling session, sports, games, physical activity, yoga, life skills, social community work, field visits, vocational education, training, skilling, project work, field visit, internship, apprenticeship, on-job training, everything, wherever learning happens, comes under learning hours. So our teaching learning scheme should look like this only. First should have say course code. Second should be say course title. I have taken 2 examples. Then next 3 column will be classroom instruction in hours per semester, maybe lecture or tutorial, lab instruction per semester, that is practical, term work and self-learning, which is known as SL, hours per week. So total number of hours per semester and divide it by 30. So that will be that much credit course. So if I have taken an example of C double plus, so it has got 42 hours of instruction in semester, 14 tutorial hours in a semester, 28 lab instructional hours per semester, 36 self-learning or term work. So total hours per semester 120. So 120 upon average 30. So 4 credit course. Say for chemistry laboratory, since there will not be tutorial or lecture, practical 42 hours and term work and self-learning 18. So total hours 60. So 60 divided by 30, it will be a 2 credit course. So all our curriculum, syllabi, our lab manual or our course file or our college data, it should be made in this form only. I have written what does it comes under class instruction, everything is written. What comes under lab instruction, I have written. What comes under term work, I have written. What comes under self-learning, I have written. So you will find everything and is included in either LTP or SL included. But when we say that my course is 3 credit course, you have to divide those 3 credit into 3 hours per week, and 3 hours per week should be divided like this only, whatever is applicable. So our university curriculum generally shows 28 to 32 contact hour, but we have to show another 8 to 10 self-learning hours to make it minimum 40. Then and then it will comply with National Credit Framework. So here I will stop for few minutes because concept of credit, understanding credit is very important. So if anybody wants to add, anybody wants to ask, anybody wants to interact, let us break for 2 minutes to understand very clearly what does it mean by credit, when only credits can be earned by the student, and when only we can, you can say, award the credits, and what should be, when we say it is a 4 credit theory course or 2 credit practical course, how those credits should be distributed in hours. So this is what is very important, because you will find our complete curriculum is of 20 credit per semester minimum, 20 to 22, and 40 to 44. From where the figure of this 20, from where the figure of 40 had come? So it had come from learning hours of 1200 per year and 600 per semester, or 40 per week. So unless those notional learning hours are demonstrated along with expected learning outcome, assessment and demonstration by the student of its attainment, we cannot award the credit, or student cannot claim that I have earned the credit. So let us wait for 2 minutes if anybody has got any question, because very critical point is about understanding of credit framework. Yes, Anand sir or Madhav sir, anybody who wants to add, who wants to know? Or should we go ahead? Madam, या Madhav sir, या Anand sir, या Savita madam, anybody who would like to?
It is clear, sir.
So should I? Yes, sir. Thank you. So Wagmare sir, should I move?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So now once we have understood the important framework, that is credit framework, second important framework under which all of us will be operating, as I am saying, whether you are located in Umarkhed or New Delhi or Srinagar, everybody will be operating under this second framework, which is known as National Higher Education Qualification Framework. Again, you will find in this document, it is a public document, all statutory bodies, Ministry of Education, UGC, AICT, and everybody, school education people, everybody has come on same platform. If you go through this document, you will find many international deliberations have taken place, and to align it with international standard, our national standard they have come out, and that national standard which is aligned with international standard is termed as qualification framework. So just I will introduce framework, then we will break for 10 minutes tea break, and then again we will join. I will just, friends, National Higher Education Qualification is not only qualification framework in operation in India. Before 2013 itself, there was National Vocation Qualification Framework, NVQF. It was as per International Labour Organization to standardize the vocation of Indian, suppose Indian fitter want to go to international, some UAE. So there were certain minimum framework benchmarks. So that was already in existence as per International Labour Organization. It was known as National Vocational Qualification Framework, which was later on supported with NVEQF, National Vocational Education Qualification Framework. Then after we know that from vocation, there is possibility of coming to vocational education, and from vocational education to skill education. Say from ITI, somebody who is in vocation can come to vocational education like ITIs. From there can come to polytechnic. So it was NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework. And from NSQF, it is the integration of vocational education with academic education. There is the possibility of movement, earning credit from one thing and moving to higher level vertically or horizontally. That is the beauty of education policy. To enable that vertical and horizontal mobility, National Higher Education Qualification Framework is done. And NSQF, which was in alignment with, you can say, international skill education, again as per ILO, it was slightly modified, and NSQF and NHEQF, they are made almost parallel now. vocational education integration into higher education. The object of NHQF is defining the academic standard and outcome. Again, I will tell you, whenever you talk about NEP, you will always coin two terms. One is outcome, competency, level, standard. So everything revolves around this. So properly defining those outcomes and relevant standard. So NHQF has helped it. Again, enabling horizontal and vertical mobility across discipline. Vertical mobility is also required and horizontal also. From vocational to NHQF may be horizontal, but from level 4.5 to 5.5 to 5.5, from certificate to diploma, diploma to degree, degree to postgraduate. So vertical mobility is also required. To enable, some framework was required. So NHQF provides that. Then international comparability of Indian degrees. As was right from the beginning, I am telling you, NEP is in a way journey from local to global through national. So international comparability. So what India has done, India has studied all various world standard qualification framework. And India found European Union's qualification framework, which is most accepted throughout the world as we're comparable with Indian. So we have adopted European Union's qualification framework that is known as Bologna process. And the descriptors or parameters given in that Bologna process or European Union framework, they are called as Dublin parameters. So just know these two terms because we should be aware of this thing. So Indian qualification framework, National Higher Education Qualification Framework is aligned with European Union qualification framework or Bologna process, or our parameters are aligned with Dublin parameters. We will not go into Dublin parameters, etc. We will study our own parameter only, but we should know. And the last, you can say, objective was employability and lifelong learning. So with this, I think we have almost gone 1 hour 22 minutes. So I suggest let us take 8 minutes break, tea break, and exactly at 15:30 we will rejoin. Is it okay?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And meantime, if anybody wants, yes, yes, Magmani sir. Yes, Chede sir. Anything?
No, sir, nothing.
Okay. Is it okay? My pace and points are they okay? Should I improve something?
Okay, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir, they are
Okay.
exactly appropriate.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So let us meet after 8 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
तुमची टाइमपास झाला ना?
Friends, should we begin? Yeah, should we? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So let us quickly recap what we have done. We have initially understood pillars of, you can say, NEP, then we have understood what is education, what are domains of education, what are levels of each of the domain stages. Then we have understood what is the mandate given to us. Then we had started understanding the framework under which we will be operating. Initially, we have understood national credit framework, so in which we have understood what is the concept of credit, earning the credit and awarding the credit. What are the things one has to essentially complete, then only one becomes eligible to earn. Then under that framework, we have seen minimum 1200 learning hours one has to undergo, then only it will be considered as completion of one academic session, and student will be able to earn 40 credits. So for one semester it will be 600 and 20 to 22 credit. Accordingly, 1 week means minimum 40 learning hours. What comes under learning hours, that also we have seen. So when we say that we will be implementing NEP, means we will be completely following National Credit Framework, which is uniform irrespective of the place. Then second framework, we have understood it is about qualification framework. Under qualification framework, we have seen that whether it is vocational education, skill education, or higher education, all types of, you can say, training, vocations, and learning, training, vocation, education, they have been aligned in framework, which is further aligned with international standards. So we have started discussing on National Higher Education Framework for our today's discussion. We have only touched NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework, which is now made aligned with NHEQF. We have seen that this framework is, India has adopted European Union's framework, Bologna process or Dublin descriptors, what we call it as. And the objective of this framework was for, you can say, making Indian education as per standard of international levels, mobility, vertical as well as horizontal. So now with this, some, you can say, going back fast forward, we will be discussing now NHEQF in little bit detail. The key features are, education is now converted into level-based education. Whether it is NSQF or NHEQF, the complete range of formal education is from level 1 to level 8. Level 1 to 4 are school education. So when we say student has completed 10 plus 2 or 12, now it will be termed as student has completed level 4. For higher education, the level range is from level 4.5 to level 8. 4.5 means first year of university education and level 8 is PhD education. So for us, undergraduate education will be 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6. Post-graduation education will be say 6.57 and PhD will be 8. So complete education is now classified into levels and competencies. Now for each level, there will be clearly defined attributes and learning descriptors. What is expected in a student of a given particular level? Suppose graduate level is 5.5 level, 3 years graduate. Then for graduate, what are the attributes expected from a graduate? Those are very clearly defined and they are in alignment with international standard. So whether he is a commerce graduate, science graduate, arts graduate, there will be minimum attributes required to be imbibed in any graduate. Now you will find that those attributes are in 3 wings. 3 wings means cognitive, skilling, and behavior. So for those 3 domains, there will be attributes attached with each of the domain, and every graduate will be expected to have those attributes. So those graduate attributes are very clearly defined and we don't have to define them. University Grants Commission, AICT, NAC or NBA, they have already given those attributes which are in alignment with international standard. So every university has to produce a graduate with those qualities or attributes imbibed in them. So those 12, 13 attributes are very clearly given. We have to begin with those attributes only. For each level, we'll be having some qualification, and for that qualification, there will be certain description. When we say a student has completed 4.5 level, so that student will get certificate, and when student is certificate means there will be in 5 areas, 5 parameters, clear statement, we will see it soon. This is what is the feature, and this NHEQF enables recognition of prior learning. We know it is integration of vocational education, skill education, higher education, horizontal, you can say mobility, vertical mobility. So for multi-entry, multi-exit, so for so many entry points, there has to be certain prior learning. Then only we can say that student can enter into that level or that stream. So this NHEQF recognize the prior learning also. And it is useful for modular structure and multiple entry and multiple exit options. So these are the key features of NHEQF. How they are now one by one, we will see it. Now NHEQF, let me take some example. It's not only applicable to engineering or any graduate. Say levels are 4.5, 5, 5.5 and 6, 4 years. So what we used to call earlier first year will be now called as level 4.5. The student will be able to take exit after level 4.5 means after first year means after semester 1 and 2. If the student opts for exit, then student will be awarded with UG certificate in the subject in which he has taken as subject of the interest. 1 year means we know that each semester the student will earn 20 credits. So in 1 year, the student will earn 40 credits. And if the student opts to go out, then additional 4 credit, either internship the student will have to do or some skill course the student will have to do, then certificate will be awarded. If the student prefers to go to second year, then certificate will not be awarded. The student will come to second year. After second year means semester 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. 1200 plus 1200, 2400 learning hours. If the student opts to go out, he will have 80 credits, 40 credit of first year, 40 credits of second year. So together 80 credits, and student will be awarded with diploma. Like this, as the progression takes place, student climbs up from level 4.5 to 4 years undergraduate degree program of 6 years. So qualification will change and number of credits to be earned. Say 4 years, 160 to 170 students. Learning hours, 1200 plus 1200 plus 1200 plus 1200. So learning hours, credit, year and level. So this is how they are put in that framework. So there will be 8 levels in overall school, overall education system. Level 1 to 8, level 1, 2, 3 will be school, 3.5 probably 10, but level 12th is level 4 for our higher education from 4.5 to 8. And each level will represent different level of skill, complexity, knowledge, responsibility, autonomy to demonstrate competency, commensurating with that level. And this is how the NHEQF or NSQF framework is work. So let us summarize it. So minimum learning hours per week will be 40. It comes from credit framework. Minimum 15 weeks will be there in each semester. So total learning hours minimum will be 15 into 40, that is 600 learning hours per semester. For per year, it will be 1200 learning years. So if each year, that is say first year, it will be semester 1 plus 2, the level will be 4.5. Semester 1 is not any level. Completion of year is mandatory. Learning hours will be 1200. Credits 40. If exit, additional 4 credits, get certificate. Like that. If it is fourth year, then semester 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. Level will be 6. So learning hours will be minimum 4,800, 1200 each year. And credits will be 160 to 172. And degree will be bachelor's 4 years with honors with major in or honors with research. So this is how qualifications, credit, learning hours, levels and year, they are mapped with each other. Now let us understand level, qualification and what I am right from the beginning telling descriptor, those statements, because we have to ensure those descriptor associated with each year. So when I say I will design syllabus of first year, it means level 4.5. So I have to keep descriptor in mind, and according to that only depth and breadth of that subject has to be done. According to that only I have to teach, and according to that only I have to assess to ensure unnecessary very high depth is not expected in level 4.5 or first year. So mapping with descriptor, the syllabus framing, teaching and assessment has to be done. That is why it is necessary for all of us to understand these levels, qualification and descriptors as per National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So level 4.5, as I was saying, will be certificate, level 5 diploma, level 5.5 degree, and according to learning hours and semesters will change. Level 8 will be doctoral degree. Now, this higher education qualification, which will lead to either certificate, diploma or degree, shall be described by NHEQF or NSKF in terms of learning outcomes. So for each level, for each qualification, expected learning outcomes are described, and we have to take those descriptions and we have to ensure we follow them. Now, each level is structured based on the defined learning outcome. And these learning outcomes are nothing but statements. What the learner is expected to know, understand, able to do on successful completion of that program at of that specified level. So those statements of expected level of understanding, knowledge, and skill and behavior means those are known as descriptor. And the student should be able to demonstrate those attributes which are defined in terms of learning outcomes, whether, very important statement, whether acquired through any mode of learning, such as direct in-person, face-to-face instruction, open distance learning, online learning, hybrid learning, blended modes. Sir, understand what is the meaning of this? It means mode of learning is not important. Whether student learns from me or on Swayam or through experiential, that is not important, but students should be able to demonstrate that whatever is expected outcome I have achieved, I can demonstrate it. So from where he has learned is not important. So whether student attend my class or not, from where he learns it is not important. Now the question of accountability, when fifth pillar will come. What is important is demonstration of outcome. From where the student has learned is not important. Very clearly NHEQF talks about it. Now let us understand the descriptors. As I told you, India has adopted European Union qualification framework, Bologna process. These are nearer to Dublin descriptors. Now, these descriptors are, each level is associated with set of some statement. Those 5 statements, they describe in general terms the minimum knowledge, minimum skill and minimum attribute that learner needs to acquire and demonstrate attainment in order to be certified for that level. See, what is the responsibility on us, the educator? We have to first understand what are the descriptor for each level. For first year, what is the descriptor? For second year, what is the descriptor? There will be minimum 5 statements. And we have to imbibe knowledge, skill, behavior with reference to keeping in mind those descriptors. We have to assess the student for those descriptors, and students have to demonstrate attainment of those parameters. Then only qualification is to be given. So now our qualification is attached or mapped with assessment, and assessment has to be mapped with demonstration of outcome, and those outcomes have to be very clearly specified before student takes the admission, before the class start. Those expected things should be very clearly known to the student, and student have to direct their studies to attain those descriptors and demonstrate those descriptors as their attainment. This is how the whole education system will get oriented to. Now, each level of NHEQF or NSQF is described by the statement of outcome in 5 classes. Domain word I have used for, say, cognitive, psychomotor, and affinitive. So here I use in 5 classes known as level descriptor. These 5 classes are: number 1, professional or theoretical knowledge. So knowledge domain. Professional and technical skills and expertise, psychomotor domain. Aptitude, attitude, mindset, soft skills, employment readiness, and entrepreneurship skills, behavioral domain, affinitive domain. Broad learning outcome and level of responsibility. Under these 5, you can say, classes, the statements are given for each level, and those each level, whatever descriptors are provided, those should form the basis of our curriculum design or syllabus design or our assessment. Let us see what are those statements. Professional knowledge, say, it is what the learner should know and understand with reference to the subject and or field of knowledge. It is described in terms of depth, breadth, kinds of knowledge and complexity. Depth of knowledge can be general or specialized. Breadth of knowledge can range from a single topic to a multidisciplinary area of knowledge. Kind of knowledge range from concrete to abstract, from segmented to cumulative, and complexity of knowledge refers to the combination of kinds, depth, and breadth of knowledge. Obviously, for lower level 4.5, this complexity will be less. As we move from level 4.5 to 5, 5 to 5.5, 5.5 to 6, 6 to 6.5, 6.5 to 7, or 7 to 8, this complexity will go on increasing. So Bloom's taxonomy, complexity, this has to be kept in mind when we design our curriculum or impart education or assess. Second class is professional skills, that is, or technical skills. The professional skills what a learner should be able to do. Number one, cognitive and creative skills involving the use of intuitive, logical, and critical thinking. Communication skills involving written, oral, literacy, and numeracy skills. Interpersonal skills and generic skills that a learner should possess to perform a task or a job competently, productively, independently, and also as a part of team. Basic skills involving dexterity and use of methods, materials, tools, instruments used for performing job, including IT skills needed for a given level of study and work. Remember, given level of study, first year will be different, level 5 will be different, degree level 5.5 will be different. So very clearly we have to define what is expected in terms of these skills also, and according to that only syllabus should be designed. Third is aptitude, behavior, generic employment readiness, entrepreneur skills and mindset, digital, financial, and legal literacy, entrepreneurship, inclusion and diversity, and life skills. So it's very clear statement should be given level based. On this, I will show you some of the statements. Fourth class is broad learning outcomes, generic learning outcomes, performance criteria, process orientation, specialized and complex job tasks, and last is level of responsibility. That responsibility that learner can be entrusted on their own. That shows us degree of supervision that a person needs when doing a job. Suppose it is level 4.5, a lot of supervision will be required. Level 5, manager, not required. So degree of supervision a person is capable of exercising over others, that is the level at which learner can supervise others. Say level 5.5, degree, manager. So it is expected that that person, manager, being manager, will have to supervise others. So those attributes are to be imbibed through our education into the student. So it determines nature of working relationship, level of responsibility for self and others, managing change, and accountability for action. Say for example, I have summarized all these things now. Say element of descriptors, level say 4.5 certificate, 5 diploma, 5.5 3 years degree, and 6 bachelor degree honors or PG diploma. So this will be the qualification. Of course, duration will be 2 semester, 4 semester, 6 semester, 4 years. Learning hours will be 1200, 2400, 3600, and 4800 learning hours. Credit required will be 40, 80, 120, 162, 172 according to. And knowledge and understanding, if it is level 4.5, basic concepts. But if it is degree level, comprehensive and specialized knowledge. Now see the understanding. If I am designing a course of first year, I have to keep in mind that it is level 4.5 certificate level. So there only basic concept, procedural knowledge, descriptive knowledge is to be kept as far as knowledge domain is concerned. But it is for third year, that is level 5.5. I must have certain comprehensive and specialized knowledge with emerging trend. And if I am designing for fourth year, that is level 6, then everywhere my word advanced should come in those subjects, because it is expected that advanced knowledge is given in that level. So right from basic, descriptive and procedural knowledge to advanced knowledge, each level based, my syllabus should reflect that I have, for knowledge component, I have taken care of level. If somebody opens my first year syllabus, it should only reflect basic concept, descriptive knowledge and procedural knowledge. But if it is for fourth year, it must show advanced and research level inputs in that syllabus. This is what is knowledge component. Skill component for first year or level 4.5, it will be basic cognitive technical for defined task. But if it is for third year, my lab, it will show that I am able to evaluate and solve complex problem and high order analytical skills. So this is how the element of descriptor will change. Application of knowledge, communication, learning, ethical value. In level 4.5, willingness to embrace ethical moral value. But for third year, identify and address the ethical issues, responsible conduct. So that should be reflected in my curriculum, in my teaching, in students' learning, in assessment and demonstration. When such type of system is there, then only we can say that it is compliant with NHEQF and NEP. Same is the case with autonomy, responsibility or employability. I will not read, I will share the slides also. For autonomy responsible, for level 4.5, it should be independent, but some responsibility in group tasks. While for third year, degree level, supervise the team and manage own as well as group output. So that should be reflected in curriculum, that should be reflected in learning, teaching, and that should be reflected in assessment. Then we can say that attributes are attained, you can say, by the student. So key differentials, level-wise, entry-level capabilities, foundational knowledge, foundational technical skills, prepare for basic job. Something like skilled person, you may call it, job role will be of a skilled person. While level 5, intermediate skill, ability to synthesize information, mid-level low roles. So supervisor, from skilled person now, if he is a diploma holder, we may call him he is a supervisor. But if he is a level 5.5 degree level, we may say that he is a manager person. If he is a level 6, advanced level, so moving towards research. So that person should show the research ability, above managerial ability. So these are the differentials of level wise, and it should be very clearly seen in curriculum framing, in discharging our teaching learning process, in assessment. So my question paper, my internal assessment paper, my formative assessment or summative assessment, my notes, my expected learning outcome, what course I am teaching, what level I am teaching, whether I am teaching some first year subject or third year subject, depending upon the level, these changes should be very clearly seen in curriculum, in our notes, in our discharging our teaching learning process, or in our assessment, maybe continuous assessment or summative assessment, whether it is assessment or examination. That should be very clearly reflected. Then only we can say that student is able to demonstrate attainment of outcome. Then only his certification and credits will get validated. So this is the major change which will come in, you can say, implementation of NEP. Say suppose it is NHQF 4.5. So first thing, description is basic understanding. So Bloom's will be remember, understand, apply. So our question paper may have some questions on define, list, identify, but more on calculate, select, demonstrate. So such type of work should be seen in our assessment. If it is level 5, then moderate depth, analyzing the routine task and some synthesis. Now here you will not find Bloom's level of memorizing. Understand, apply and analyze. Higher level has come in cognitive domain, our questions should have verbs like interpret, compare, classify, differentiate, solve, illustrate, summarize, explain, why, how, compute. Such type of words should be there in our questions, assessment question. Then it will be considered that, okay, it is level 5, so level, Bloom's understand, apply and analyzing is there. If it is third year, that is level 5.5. Description is solve complex problem, evaluate, make judgment, professional readiness. So Bloom's level is apply, analyze and evaluate, higher level. Our questions should begin with the verb like analyze, design, evaluate, develop, recommend, simulate, construct, troubleshoot. So estimate, such type of verbs should be seen in our assessment. Then it will be considered that it is assessment is mapped for level 5.5. And of course, highest level of undergraduate level 6. So Bloom's means analyzing, evaluating and creating. Here you will find no remembering, understanding. Above apply. And description is in terms of advanced research, innovation, ethical decision making, leadership. Those are the descriptors for that level. So obviously our assessment should show formulate, hypothesize, synthesize, model, validate, innovate, argue, defend, optimize, create, derive. Such type of questions should be there. Then it will be considered of level 6. So this is how complete framing of curriculum, syllabus, teaching and assessment, everything will get reoriented towards level-based and competency-based. So these are the, you can say, important things from National Credit Framework and Higher Qualification Framework. Now, if you understand what was the concept of NEP, what was 3 areas, what was 21st century skills, what was there in terms of multidisciplinary education, what was their level-based education, credit-based, now you will understand as government GR, and they have given us certain verticals. Now you can correlate everything with whatever we have discussed up till now. They have provided with choices of major and minor, core and elective. What does NEP say? 1 or 2 subjects in depth. So first year student will be exposed to 2-3 subjects. Out of those 2-3, student after second semester will come to know which is his interest area. So he will select that interest area subject to be studied in detail. So that becomes his major. Other area may be of multidisciplinary or of the same discipline or faculty. He will select, so that will become his minor. So major and minor, this is in compliance with NEP. Student will study the subject of his or her interest in depth, that is major. And it will be multidisciplinary too, or some exposure to other, so minor. Then it is expected that student should be aware and should feel national pride. Many things, whatever in our ancient literature, some modern science may be there, which may be useful in sustainability. From that point of view, second vertical is Indian knowledge system. One is generic, other is major related, I guess. It is said that experiential learning, actual doing, actual training is important along with only theoretical part. For experiential learning part, internship, field-based learning, on-job training is made mandatory. So internship is mandatory as a part of hands-on, as a part of experiential learning. What is happening really in the field where the student is studying. So earlier that was not mandatory. Now it is made mandatory. Experiential learning. Skill, psychomotor component. So vocational skill and life skills. So the vertical of VSEC, Vocational Skill Enhancement Course, and skill enhancement score. So whatever subject the student has taken as his major or area of interest, there hands-on, high level, what is practically required, whatever theory the student learns, he should be able to apply that to at higher level. For that, this VSCC component is given. So communication skill, ability, the third component is value ethics disposition. So those courses, value ethics, life skills education, VLES, SE. Then for student learns for two things. One, for his, you can say, doing some occupation or profession or vocation, and other things student learns for passion. Engineer may have interest in music. We know many cricketers were engineer by qualification. Many singers and musicians are either engineer or doctor. There are many doctor, medical professionals who go become artists. So for that, open elective or generic elective. Then MOOC. From where you learn is not important. A student can learn from wherever he can get the best. So that is why massive open online courses, 40% of the credit can be earned through SWAYAM. So it is equity. Student can using mobile can learn, demonstrate attainment of learning outcomes, he will earn credit. For that, provision of MOOC is there. Now there is nothing like extracurricular. Co-curricular sports, culture, social engagement, community engagement, social work, social responsibility. So in multidisciplinary approach, those are essential ingredients of any education. So provision is there for co-curricular courses. So all these verticals, you will find take care of the vision and policy of NEP, that it should be multidisciplinary. It should be in 3 domains. It should have overall personality, character building. So all those things are taken care through these 6, 7 verticals. Now, on the basis of what we have seen in the form of various concept of NEP, verticals of NEP, credit framework and qualification framework, you will find this is the curriculum and credit framework given to us through various GR. Credits per semester 22, per year 42, 44. What does it mean? 600 learning hours, 1200 learning hours. Total credit 3 years degree 122, 132, 40, 40, 40. For 4 years 162, 176. Now suppose level difficulty level and NHEQF level 4.5, difficulty level is 100. Level 5, difficulty level is 200. Level 5.5, difficulty level is 300. Level 6, difficulty level is 400. So as level goes up, competency goes up, difficulty level, complexity level goes up. Now subjects distribution are there. See, 2 or 3 subjects. See, in fact, for first year, there is nothing like major minor. 3 or 2 subjects have to be taken. Out of these 3 or 2, one will become major after second semester, other will become minor and other component. So this is how credit distribution and you can say vertical distribution is given as per our government GR, as per university system. So the framing of curriculum and syllabi is based completely on NEP. Now we have understood the concept of credit system, higher education qualification system, how verticals are given, and on the basis of vertical credit and qualification framework, that is level and competencies, the curriculum and syllabi is framed. Now last but most important part is as per NEP, everything has to be outcome based. So we are moving from our traditional education, academic education, to credit based, framework based, competency-based, level-based, and most importantly, outcome-based education. So, friends, let us orient completely towards OBE education. That is the mandate of the day. If you see all NAC formats, NBA formats, all accreditation, everything is going only and only towards outcome-based education. What is this outcome-based education? We have to understand very clearly, because this is what we will be accountable for. That fifth pillar of NEP is in a way related with this point, that is, are we able to give outcome-based education or not? Now, what is this outcome-based education? Outcomes are about performance. It means there has to be a performer, that is learner, and not the teacher. Very bold statement I am making. So what is important is learner. Learner can learn from MOOC, from experiential learning by actually doing the things. Mode of learning is not important, but learner is important, first thing. Second is there must be something which is performable, which is demonstrable, which is accessible to perform. That is the essential condition. That performer must have something which he or she should be able to demonstrate and which can be assessed. And third is focus is on performance and not on the activity or task. Process ला काही अर्थ नाही. काय केलं कसं केलं नाही, परफॉर्मन्स आउटकम काय आलं. So complete system will focus on these three parameters. So OBE focuses on students' competency. So we are going towards competency based. It concentrates on outcome and goals, not on marks or scores. And scores are in three domains: skill domain, knowledge domain, and attitude domain. And learners should have and should demonstrate during as well as at the end of the course. So continuous assessment, formative assessment, as well as examination, semester end examination, both are being given equal weightage. That is why you will find in NEP implementation, internal assessment is taken from 20% to 40%. And external assessment, university examination is brought down from 80% to 60%. This is what is the OBE approach expects. As I told you, capacity, competency, and learning outcome, these three terms which are already explained, should be kept in mind when we implement OBE. Capacity, competency, and outcome. On these three terms, you will find outcome-based education revolves around it. Again, this is learning outcome-based curriculum framework for undergraduate. It is a public document. Again, Ministry of Education, UGC, AICTE, NCERT, all statutory regularity bodies related to education, they have come together. It is aligned with international standards, and they have come out with this framework. Now, everybody of us will have to get aligned with learning outcome-based education, and so curriculum will also be there based on that. So it will be based on expected learning outcome and academic standard. These two words will always be kept in mind, that are expected to be attained by graduates of any program of study or holder of qualification. So irrespective whether BA, BCom, BSc, B, whatever may be the program or qualification, for each program or qualification, diploma, certificate, degree, whatever it let it be, there will be two things. One will be expected learning outcome, and second will be academic standard mapping with that qualification. And this standard and outcomes will be having attributes, descriptors, learning outcomes, and course learning outcomes. So when we will frame any syllabus, it must begin with attributes. It should have, depending upon level, whether it is certificate, diploma, degree, or 4 years degree or PG, descriptors, learning outcome for that program, and for each course learning outcome. So this should be the way curriculum should be given. And whether it is certificate, diploma, or degree, any title or qualification will be awarded only after satisfactory completion and achievement in a program. They are, suppose bachelor's degree are awarded on the basis of demonstrated achievement of outcome expressed in terms of knowledge, understanding, skills, attitudes, and values, and academic standards expected. See, 3 domain I was right from the beginning saying: knowledge domain, skill domain, behavior domain, and standard corresponding to that qualification. So the student must show, demonstrate this achievement or attainment of outcome in these 3 domains. So assessment has become very important henceforth when we say OBE is involved. So let us prepare ourselves from that angle. We will not face any problem in accreditation or any audit. Otherwise, when standardization will come, how credits are awarded, why your credit should be considered equivalent to Delhi University or Pune University, that time we will have to demonstrate that these are our outcomes expected and which are already given by UGC AICT, and this is how we confirm that the student have demonstrated. So our credits are equivalent to any other institute. Now, learning outcomes specify the graduates completing a program are expected to know, understand, and able to do during as well as at the end of the program. So they are the real reference point. So curriculum should have those who are in board of studies, faculty, or academic council. Please note this point. Whenever papers will come before you, ensure that they are put in this order only. Otherwise, ask concerned authority to prepare the document in this format only. Curriculum should start with clear statement on what knowledge, skill, and attitude the student will be able to demonstrate. Now, this is given by UGC, it is given by NEP, it is given by NPA, it is given by AICT. What the student should be able to demonstrate on successful completion of program of study, and they should be clearly measurable, such as graduate attributes. So first give the graduate, after your college vision, mission, the university curriculum should begin with graduate attributes. For that particular program, what are educational objective, specific outcome, program outcome, again given by UGC and NAC, and finally course outcome and course learning outcome. Let us take few examples. So our planning will begin from program educational outcome, PSO, that is exit outcome, program outcome, course outcome, each module outcome, and each bit, each session's intended outcome. This is how our document planning will start. And execution, if I am a teacher, for my today's class, I should write what is my intended learning outcome, what teaching methodology I will use, what assessment tool I will use, what is my expected attainment, how I have checked, assessed my class, this session. Like that, then from that it will become module outcome, then unit outcome, then course outcome, then program outcome. So execution will be from bottom to top and planning will be from top to bottom. This is the way everybody of us have to act and implement henceforth. So graduate attributes you write. Now this second will be program educational outcome. What are those objectives? They are the set of broad future focused student performance outcome that explicitly identify what student will be able to do with what they have learned. So they will means after graduating, after 3-4 years of graduating, what the student will be able to do. See, mandate of NEP is to prepare the student for future job role. Their work profile. So when they are in their career or professional life, what the student will be able to do. That is what is the first 2-3 statement we have to write. Say if it my graduate, I will say that my student may go to postgraduate, he may go to research, he may go to teaching profession, student may go to some industry. Say suppose I am chemistry, I may say that the student may go to pharmaceutical chemistry. So whatever you are expecting to student to go, maybe in analytical chemistry, you specified that after passing out, after 6-7 years, whatever is required for a student as a research scholar, I am giving that attribute. As a quality control, what is expected that I am giving. As a production supervisor, whatever is expected, I am giving. So that has to be very clearly mentioned in 3 to 4 statements. Those are known as objectives. Then with specific your program, they are the narrow statement. By the time, but earlier objective was when they go into profession. Outcome are at the time of graduation. And PSOs are function of various course combinations offered by the institute. After PSO, you have to write POs. Now, POs are given by UGC or NEP. So those 11 POs we have to use, only we have to tune them for our program. Otherwise, all 11, 12 POs are given by UGC and NEP. In our syllabi, in our curriculum, we have to only drop them down and tune it for our own program. And from that, if once we know what are our program educational objectives, what are our program educational outcome, what are our program outcome, from that basis, we have to write what are various courses which will give those outcomes. And for each course, we have to write the outcome which will be course outcome or course learning outcome. This is how everybody of us will have to follow in curriculum framing. And while implementation, every teacher should write in teaching learning plan. Don't call your course file as a teaching plan. Call it as a teaching learning plan. If you write teaching plan, accreditation committee will immediately throw it. They will say, don't show us your teaching plan. So show us learning plan. So learning plan for each of the session, I should write at the end of this session, what are the intended learning outcome. So they should be directed towards 4 point learner, they are our resource, what we are using, what change in behavior we are expecting, and of what competency level. So these 4 parameters should be included or should be kept in mind while writing our intended learning outcome for my each session. So remember, whatever course I am teaching, I may be teaching first year, I may be teaching some subject of third year. For each course, I should know the level, I should know the descriptor, and for each lesson, when I am conducting unit 1, unit 1 has got 4 bits. First bit, I will require 2 to 3 hours. So for that 2 to 3 hour session, I should write what is my intended learning outcome. I should write what teaching method I will use. I should write what assessment I will use. I should write what is the expected attainment, whether 60% of students should know it, whether 90% of students should understand it. So that I should define, and I should find out what is actual attainment. I was expecting 90% student will answer it correctly, but 70% have only answered it. I will have to take remedial. I have decided only 70% if they attend rightly, I am okay for me. But 90% attends rightly. You will say, okay, fantastic. So this is how is to be done for each class, each session. This is what will be our, you can say, outcome-based education. So for end of first year, say, if suppose I am teaching a course of first year, so I will write it is NHEQF level 4.5. What is expected from my first year student? Proficiency in broad range of specialized theoretical, practical, routine, non-routine context, factual theoretical knowledge, because we know it is level 4.5. So descriptive knowledge and procedural knowledge of this competency is only expected. Wide range of cognitive practical skills to find solution to specific, not generic problem. In a similar situation, only students should be able to apply. Not new pattern is not expected. Logical mathematical skills, presentation skills, use of both standard non-standard practices. Job holder will carry out a broad range of work which will require a wide range of specialized technical skills backed by clear factual theoretical knowledge. See, when the student goes to a job, what is expected? I am expecting if he takes the certificate and leaves from me, that certificate holder will be responsible for completion of own work and expected to learn continuously, lifelong learning. And they should have full responsibility for other works and learning. People carrying these jobs may be described as master technician, skilled people or trainer. An individual employed to carry out this job role will be expected to be able to communicate clearly in speech and writing and may be required to carry out mathematical calculation. They are expected to be able to collect data, organize information, communicate logically about their work. So these are the descriptors, qualification descriptors for level 4.5. And my course should align with this expectation. My teaching should align with this expectation. My assessment should ensure that students demonstrate these things. So this is for level 4.5. Suppose I am giving some practical. They should solve problem by selecting and applying method, tools, material, information. So I have trained them to select certain method, tool, and how to use it. So in identical condition, they will be able to do it confidently with competence. And they are expected to have broad factual and theoretical knowledge for practice within the occupation. They should be able to generate solution to the problem of their practice, not beyond their practice. They are level 4.5. What constitute quality in occupation, that much concept of behavior they should have. They should show understanding of environmental issue, moral, ethical, environmental issue is important, health safety issues, and they should be able to conduct themselves, which shows understanding of social, political, environment, moral value. This is what is expected from certificate holder. And similar expectation statements are given for diploma holders, for degree holders, and in alignment with that, we have to ensure the things should go. And let us go to the final stage, then we will keep time for interaction, question answer sessions. So let us understand difference between, because assessment, examination and evaluation will be the very important component of our job now, our responsibility. Friends, henceforth, remember, NEP says mode of learning is not important, but assessment by competent authority and demonstration of attainment of outcome is important. That is the basis for giving credit or for giving, you can say, qualification through various verticals. Now we will have various verticals, like there will be some social engagement, community engagement, internship, apprenticeship, field work, on-the-job training, sports assessment, cultural assessment. So all those things, through all those things, the student will be able to earn credit. In fact, they have to earn certain amount of credit in a multidisciplinary environment through each of these verticals. Now we are used for examining student for theory and practical. Probably, rarely we have examined student for fieldwork, for industrial tour, or for sports. Some marks we used to give, some incentive marks we used to give depending upon level level of participation. But now we have to award credits. We have to award credits for all co-curricular activities, all social engagement, all you can say. So we are not yet very well. Many of you maybe, I am not saying for everybody, but in general, many of us do not know how to assess student participating in cultural program. Some may participate in dance, some may participate in drama, some may participate in college level, some may participate in youth festival, some may be in audience, some may be excellent in some NSS work. So how to differentiate, how to analyze, how to give them credit? So assessment by competent authority is important. So what is required? Similar thing is learning hours. Student may learn something on MOOC. He may say that, sir, instead of attending your class, I have gone through the lectures available on YouTube. I have gone through lectures available on NPTEL platform. I have studied something on Swayam, even though I did not attend your class. You cannot say because he was not present in my class, so he has not learned it. What is important is learning. Officially, 40% credit can be earned on Swayam. In that case, what becomes more important is, number one, teaching pedagogies, of the class activity, in the class activities, flipped learning, project-based learning, collaborative learning, participative learning, experiential learning. So these are various methods of learning. I am not talking about teaching. Students are expected to learn through flip. They are expected to learn through participative. They are expected to learn through experiential. So when project-based learning, when all this learning is taking place, how do you ensure that expected learning outcomes? Number one, we will have to state. Number two, we will have to assess. And number three, student will have to demonstrate. And then only we can give the credit. So where is the presently method, assessment method which we know? So for that angle, I will just introduce important part of NEP implementation in the form of assessment by competent authority, qualification descriptors, expected learning outcomes, its attainments, and then awarding the credit. We will be accountable for doing this thing. So my first request, please, from first year student itself, ask them to prepare for students' portfolio. Whatever they do out of class, safe learning is allowed. I have shown you LTPSL. So those are the, you can say now, parts in which learning hours are counted. L, okay, in class. T, okay, tutorial in class. P, partially in virtual practicals, virtual labs the student can learn. And most importantly, LS, term work and self-learning. Through field work, anything the student. So those hours are to be counted as learning hours. So ask student to maintain student portfolio file. So whatever they claim that they have learned out of class, let there be some mechanism, maybe at laboratory attendant level or class teacher level or that group teacher level, who will regularly sign on those portfolio, and there will be some assessment on whatever learning they claim. So we have to know what are various techniques of assessment, examination, and evaluation. So let us understand the difference between assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, examination, and evaluation. From that angle, let us understand these three terms very clearly. Assessment is the process of collecting, recording, scoring, describing, and interpreting information about learning. So it is a continuous assessment that is known as formative assessment. In assessment, there is a scope of improvement for both the learner and the teacher. So teacher also goes on improving depending upon the assessment, whatever the teacher does, and finds, okay, there is scope for improvement on teacher's side, as well as opportunity is available to student to improve the performance because it is a assessment, continuous assessment. Examination is a summative, that is quantitative to measure of performance, and it is usually held at the end of academic session or semester. So there may be continuous assessment session wise, but there may be two test internal assessment examinations. Assessment, student will have opportunity to improve, but in examination there is no opportunity for, unless there is re-examination or reassessment of answer book, except that otherwise it is an end examination. And NEP says that high-stake examination, that is weightage on end examinations, summative examinations, should be reduced and weightage on continuous assessment should be increased. That is why weightage of 80 marks is reduced to 60 for end examination, and weightage of 20 marks for internal assessment is increased to 40. That is the mandate of NEP. But I hope everybody has understood the difference between assessment and examination. Assessment is formative, examination is summative. Assessment is continuous throughout the semester. Maybe at every lecture I can assess and give scope for improvement, while examination is some midterm or end term, so there is no scope for improvement. And evaluation is the process of making judgment based on evidences and interpretation gathered through examination and assessment on the basis of agreed upon criteria. So criteria should be very well transparently known to the student, and there should be evaluation at the end of assessment and examination. That is why now in university it is called as Board of Evaluation and Examination. Earlier it was Controller of Examination. I hope everybody has understood these three terms: assessment, examination, evaluation, formative assessment, summative examination, continuous internal assessment, end semester examination, and evaluation very clearly, because we will have to concentrate on those henceforth. So learning levels versus, we know that Bloom's taxonomy, now many times we have used the word memorizing, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Particularly for cognitive domain, we have to evaluate those things depending upon the level and competency. Generally, memorizing, understanding, applying, and little bit of analyzing, they are done through fixed hour examinations, maybe continuous internal examination or continuous internal assessment, or semester in examination, that is maybe formative or summative. But applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating, that cannot be assessed or evaluated through fixed hour examination. For that, capstone project, minor project, mini project, course project, so those are the ways through which higher order learning levels are tested. That is why whether it is our teaching, whether it is learning, or whether it is assessment, it will definitely have various components like out of class activity, flipped, project based, collaborative based, and many more things. Complete blend we will have to design to make outcome-based education effective. And after 3 years now NAC and NBA, they are changing their criteria. You will find everything is going towards outcome-based education, and NAC and NBA will only and only look for outcome-based education there. All these things you will find, whether you have rightly made PO or not, whether you have made PSO or not, whether you have used PO or not, whether competencies are identified or not. On the basis of that, whether course outcomes are identified or not, whether for every session intended learning outcomes are not that, and whether you are using both formative assessment or not, whether you are using summative examinations or not, whether your curriculum and course content, capstone project, minor project, mini project, course project, field project, on-the-job training, experiential learning, all those verticals will have essential good values, marks, and only on that basis our assessment will be done. And for that, earlier the way we used to keep record, and now the way we will be required to keep record, there will be a big difference. So let us understand this new frameworks, new outcome-based education. Let us orient it and let us understand this rubrics, assessment rubric, because rubrics will be required for many of the verticals for assessment, and showing that assessment is done by competent authority, assessment is done by scientific way using rubrics, and student, those who have demonstrated the attainment and degree of attainment, the gradation from A to P are given or marks are given, and this is how everything we will have to demonstrate. So our new way of curriculum, new approach towards our teaching, learning, assessment process will come when NEP is completely implemented, and it's a good thing. I think I should stop and keep some time for interaction. I know that last part after NHEQF and OBE, I had to rush. There are many things on assessment, teaching pedagogies, and OBE which needs to be deliberated, but it's very difficult to cover complete. So I have given bird's eye view about concept of NEP, philosophy of NEP, vision of NEP, expectations of out of education, why there should be education, domains of education, levels of education, competency-based education, credit-based system, National Higher Education Qualification Framework, finally OBE, and how assessment will have to be done. So I think I express my sincere thanks to our MMTC, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and most importantly, Director Dr. Atik Sir, and my friend Dr. Ankit. He is always there to help us for technical things. So my sincere thanks to him, and not but the most important, all learned audience. You are already learned, you are already in the system. Probably many of the things you may already be knowing, but nobody has intervened and told me, sir, ये आप गलत बता रहे हो, इससे तो हमको ज़्यादा मत पता है. Everybody has listened it patiently. So I express my sincere gratitude to all of you. So now the forum is open for discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such an enlightened session. Participants, the forum is open for discussion. आप लोगों के अगर कुछ प्रश्न है तो आप यहाँ पूछ सकते हैं. प्रोफेसर मराठे सर विल आंसर दैट क्वेश्चन. अगर किसी की कुछ क्यूरीज या क्वेश्चंस है, and don't worry about the language, you cannot hesitate for the language. You can ask the question in English or Marathi also. Please,
you are very right. That is the spirit of NEP. Language is not barrier. It is free to ask in Marathi. मराठीत पण विचारा, मला जेवढं समजतं मी निश्चित सांगायचा प्रयत्न. थँक्यू अंकित, व्हेरी राईटली पॉइंटेड.
थँक्यू सर, थँक्यू. येस एनीवन, कोई है किसी का प्रश्न? कुणाचे काही प्रश्न असतील तर आपण डेफिनेटली घेऊ. आपण NEP राबवते वेळी येणाऱ्या अडचणी किंवा समस्या किंवा या जे काही सेशन झालं या सेशनला अनुसरून जर कुणाचे प्रश्न असतील, इट विल बी रिअली अप्रिशिएबल. All our learned participant, two possibilities are there. I think you have understand all the things very well.
पण आहेत का? आर पीपल सी, बिकॉज देर आर nowadays we don't see the things. Just let us see whether people are there online. Anybody?
How many participants with us? Yeah, we getting your chatting messages. Yes, definitely. But it will be appreciable that if someone open their mic and camera and they will reply. Any one of you, kindly open your mic and please speak.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen sir.
Hello, sir. I have one question.
Please.
Suppose a student who have taken admission for a bachelor degree for 3 years, that is the 5.5, and he want to go at level 6. So there is any criteria to take
No.
a bachelor degree in honors?
Generally, there is for doing research, there is criteria of minimum CGPA 7.5.
Okay, sir.
So if the student wants to do 4 years undergraduate program, bachelor's with research, then there is a criteria. But just to go into 4th level, because 4th level is as good as PG diploma. So if the student does not go for research but goes for only 4th year honors, additional credit have to be taken for him, or 4 years with major. In that case, it will be treated as if the student has completed 1st year of PG. So it is equivalent to PG diploma. So in 1 year, the student can get PG. But if he is not going for, if he wants to go for research, then CGPA 7.5 criteria.
And any another criteria? If there is a need of research guide for the
No. That
or
college,
in that subject.
of course, because final year, those who do UG 4 years with research, they will have to undergo research methodology subject. They will have to undergo research project. So there will be from college side, but it is not like PG supervisor. It will be a teacher from their department only who will guide the student.
Okay, means there is no need of a PhD supervisor or
PhD supervisor is not required.
Is not required. Okay.
PhD
Only
supervisor is not. That is
is
for
not
level 8.
required.
Yeah.
Okay, that is for level 8. That is okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, anyone else? आणखी काही कोणाचे प्रश्न आहेत? और किसी के अगर कुछ प्रश्न है तो डेफिनेटली वी विल टेक सम क्वेश्चंस, बिकॉज रादर देन लेक्चरिंग दिस ये जो कार्यक्रम है यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन को बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस है. और NEP इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में आने वाली अड़चनें जो है वो डेफिनेटली इस प्लेटफॉर्म से सॉर्ट हो सकती है. सो आई विल रिक्वेस्ट पार्टिसिपेंट्स, इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन और द क्यूरीज, यू कैन प्लीज रेज इट. So shall we conclude if there are no more questions?
Yeah, Ankit, let us proceed to
Yes. So on behalf of Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center from Garge Baba Amravati University and GS Gawande College, Umarkhed, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Marathe sir for such a wonderful session. Sir, really, you have broadened the perspective of our participant towards this national credit framework. We have got the messages, but how it will be impactful, that will be come out of when they are going for the assessment of this particular session. So we are really thankful to you, sir, for your precious time and thought-provoking session here. And definitely it will enlighten and deepen the understanding of the participants. We will sure that. And I once again extend my sincere thanks to you. And with the kind consent of Professor Marathe sir, I would like to declare that this session will be over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
very much.
participants.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I will leave
Thank
now.
you, sir.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, please.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so participants, आजचं सेशन बरं राहिलं की काय, कोणाचं काय फीडबॅक